जय गुरुदेव। ओम। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Just bear with me. My computer is taking some time to get started.
Jai Gurudev. I think there's an internet issue with my at my place today. So let me see if I'm able to continue. If not, I like if any one of you is able to take over. Are you able to hear me? Just say your hands up or.
Yeah, we can hear you, Dr. Ramana. I didn't hear what you said exactly. You want to go
There is
somewhere?
an internet problem with my.
Oh, internet problem. Okay.
That is why
Okay.
it's taking some time. I actually
Okay. Do you
connected
want
on
me
my
to read
phone.
it? I I can read if you want me to. I'll set it up
Yeah.
if you want to read until
What
then.
I'll do is I will read till you get connected. You share the screen yourself, and then you can take over.
Okay, no problem.
Till such time, I'll continue with just my laptop. My phone is giving me another problem, I think. So yesterday we did this. Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasaniv Bharata Senayorubhayormadhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. O Bharata, to him who was sad in the midst of both armies, Rishikesha, as though laughing, said these words. So we did this yesterday. I'm just going to go to Krishna smiling has different interpretations. He's smiling because he knows what is going to happen. And he did not have to say, please listen to me, I'm a Vedanta. This is a very serious matter. This is something which is very joyous. It is all about you. It's all about the self, which is a very, the self itself is happiness personified, right? You are bliss, all fullness and ananda. Therefore, he did not have to say, he did not need to become serious and say, take this knowledge, don't take this knowledge lightly. So that's another interpretation for Krishna's that prahasan. The subject matter being what it was a smile, laughter all the way. We find that Krishna always had a good time while teaching Arjuna, whereas Arjuna, of course, did have a hard time now and then. One can find a number of different meanings for this expression, as though laughing. That is prahasanniva. Krishna did not drive the chariot to a quieter place. He kept it where it was, in the middle of the battlefield. So, for gaining this knowledge, you do not require particular time or place.
Okay. I'm here. Dr. Ramana, should I share it?
Someone like Krishna in the din, it starts on the chin base.
Can you
And
repeat the last lines which you said,
all,
Dr. Prambra?
all composure necessary to talk. For gaining this knowledge, you do not require a particular time or place. You only require a particular person or persons. There should be someone like
Your
in
voice
the
is
din
breaking,
and
Dr.
had the
Ramana.
necessary exposure. Yeah, that's why I said there's some internet issue today, my phone and the computer as well. So
Want
you
to
can start,
close?
take over, Dr. Mara, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready now.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
share. You can
Okay.
share. It will automatically stop.
Okay. Okay. Uh, where do we are reading with the teaching begins, right? Because the words, let me enlarge this part. The teaching begins because the words to be spoken by Krishna to Arjuna comprise the teaching. The Gita is said to begin with the next verse. Krishna began by telling Arjuna that there was no reason for grief. Asocyan anvasochah tvam. Concluded the Gita saying, grieve not, ma suchaha. In between there is only removal of grief, or more accurately put, removal of the reason for grief. The cause of grief, ignorance and error, is removed totally. Therefore, the entire Gita Shastra is a Shastra which removes sorrow, soka. Sorrow refers to any complaint, any uneasiness about me centered on the self is sorrow. Physical pain is not sorrow, but complaining about such pain is sorrow. The problem is in thinking that everyone else is well and I am not. This self centered sorrow, soka, is purely the brood of ignorance, wrong thinking, stemming from wrong notions about oneself and the world. Krishna's words, Bhagavan's Gita, address this very problem. I think we saw this yesterday, right? So we'll move on to verse 11. Shri Bhagavan.
1 minute, Dr. Mara.
Yeah.
Just she was explaining, no, that why Krishna chose to give the teaching in between the war, and when the Pandavas and the Kauravas were standing, they were confronting each other. So what was that? I couldn't listen. If you could have, you have discussed yesterday. So I was traveling
Oh,
yesterday. Yeah.
basically, like how we came about, the how Arjuna came about asking him to be Bhagavan Krishna to be his teacher, and he wants to be Sishya. So we kind of narrow it down, like where it started with the sorrow, and even though he had all this wealth meaning he had discipline, he had the bravery, he had all the weapons to fight, everything is there, he knows dharma and everything is there, but he called himself Kripanna. He, because in the first two slokas, after hearing him, that Arjuna Vishadha Yoga, right? After hearing what Arjuna had to say, he said two things. One is that if he doesn't fight, anar justam akirtikaram asvargyam, like he is not going to get any of that. He won't get swarga or fame or anything like that. He would not get, all those three things will be uh, bad for him. And also he says Clybium, I don't remember the whole sloka, but that you are like eunuch, like I never knew like you are so faint hearted like this, and you get up and fight. He says that.
No,
So
my question was that why Krishna chose uh, to
to
give the
teach,
teaching to Krishna when they were the both the clans, they were confronting each other. They were standing opposite to each
I
other.
know that's why I'm coming to that. Okay, so
Okay.
he told him to go and stand in front, in between those two armies, right, to find out who he has to fight and all that. Once he saw all his relatives, he got weak and all that. So the reason for his sorrow, what made him very weak, like his senses dried up and he became no strength, no energy, and he just dropped everything. So that is the what we're talking about, Arjuna's sorrow. Why he's so sad? That's why he was explained why what is sad and all that kind of stuff. So going back, he knew in his mind, even though he said he is Guru Sudana, I don't want to be Guru Sudana and all that. He remembers he has dharma to fight. The second thing is that Krishna told him to fight, get up and fight. So he given those two things, but his mind is not there yet. So that because of that he says, I am confused, utterly confused, and he couldn't make decision. That's where that the kripana dosha pagata swabhavaka, that where he says, I want he wants to be his Sishya, so please teach me what is good for me, good Shreyas, what is good for me, absolute good for me. So he want to get out of this sorrow completely, not just relative Shreyas, like one only fix the problem now, not like that. He want completely out of it. So he surrendered to Krishna that he want to be Sishya and he want to be shown what is the Shreyas. So that's when so far he did not ask that. So far Arjuna didn't ask Bhagavan Krishna to teach him. So now he asked, then he chose to be this Shishya, that he is mature and he is fit to be taught. For Shishya, definition is somebody who is uh, willing to receive that knowledge and also prepared to receive that knowledge. So he is prepared to receive this knowledge at this point. So, in respect to your time and place, please give me this knowledge. Wherever you take me, I surrender to you. That's when Krishna chose to give this knowledge to him. Did that answer your question? I know Dr. Brahmara might have explained a little bit different, but
No, you've done a very beautiful way of summarizing the whole thing.
yeah.
The Shishya, what qualifies Shishya is his willingness to surrender, total surrender. He's in a state of surrender. So that qualifies Arjuna to be a Shishya. Otherwise, there are those three different categories: Antevasi, Vidyarthi, Antevasi, and Shishya. Right? So that Shishya Steham, he's come to that total surrender, saying, I cannot take this. You please resolve this conflict in my mind. And it is not just about whether to fight, not to fight. He recognizes that there is this sadness. And what is sadness? It's an attitude. It is actually when you start complaining, then that pain becomes sadness. Pain becomes sorrow. As long as you don't complain, you're just taking the pain as it is. It does not. Uh, it doesn't become suffering. Pain becomes suffering when you start complaining.
You said something about the place, that is what, like this point came.
So no, he's taken him. Krishna did not drive him to a quieter place to teach him this knowledge. He kept the chariot where it was, right in the middle of the battlefield. What does this indicate? It indicates this knowledge can be given to it. This knowledge does not depend on the time and place where it is given. It can be
Irrespective of
received.
ashrama also, right?
Yeah, it can be received anywhere. What it requires is only a person or persons. You need the right guru and you need the right shishya. That is all. Even the ashrama doesn't matter, because yesterday Sarlaji was asking about sannyasa, whether that is the only thing eligible for this knowledge. So whichever ashrama you're in, wherever time, whatever place, the right teacher and the right student is what are required to give and receive this knowledge.
I'd like to add a little bit to this.
Yeah, please.
Uh, why did Krishna stay in the battlefield and give the knowledge to Arjuna? Because Arjuna had to perform his action there. He had to get up and fight to do his Kshatriya Dharma. One. Secondly, Arjuna was in that state of sorrow when it is said, as you read, it is said that he had become whole, completely, like where the body, mind, breath, emotions, everything totally surrendered to Krishna. He had come. So this commentary, it says that when you are in that sorrow, the whole being becomes one. And Arjuna was in that state. And this happened in that battlefield. So Krishna knew that this is the right place to give him this knowledge. One. And secondly, he has to perform his action in this field only. So I look at it this way, that when we also face challenges, there are options. We can go away and sit somewhere and brood over it, or be in the midst of challenge and face it. This is what I got the knowledge, that when you face challenges, be in the midst of the challenges and face it. I got this courage only after going through this Gita so many times. Jai Gurudev.
And
That's
to
also a
add to
beautiful perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, to add to Sumaji's this thing, like what I was relating, how she was explaining that when we are in a helpless state, it is then that she told no that you become as a whole. So you are going towards in your the journey is inwards then, and when the journey is inwards, then it is then when you become more receptive and more focused, like whatever is being told to you by a guru or all the teachings, it is at that time that we receive it and we relate and we come out of that situation with the help of knowledge. And well, it's so beautiful that this topic was discussed amongst my friends, that why Krishna chose to be like in that position when the two armies are standing and confronting. Why did he chose at that time? So I was a little perplexed, like what exactly what is there behind. So thank you so much, everyone, for making it clear. Yeah.
I have another previous doubt, or rather to recall what Dr. Mara said. The three things: one is you will not get heaven, and what was the other two things? You'll get
Arya Justam
Akirti.
is you are not upright man, or Aswargam, something like Akirtikaram is you are not going to get any
Fame.
fame. Yeah. I know I
Okay.
don't have my Gita book next
Okay.
to me.
Okay. I'll read it up. Thank you. Sorry for digressing.
No, that's fine. Yeah. On top of that, Bhagavan Krishna can stand still. Everybody is wondering why they are standing in the middle of the battlefield, what Arjuna is doing. Everybody is wondering. But he put that time in standstill and taught him. So he realized that part. Anyway, we can discuss that. Also, I think when we read in the previous paragraph, uh, this one, Dr. Savita, let me read this one paragraph for you. Whatever the reason, Krishna was smiling. The knowledge he was about to teach was not a grim knowledge. He did not have to say, please listen to me, I am a Vedanti, and this is a very serious matter. You are all bliss, all fullness, all ananda. Please, therefore, do not take this knowledge lightly, etc. The subject matter being what it was smile, it was a smile, laughter all the way. We find that Krishna always had a good time while teaching Arjuna, whereas Arjuna, of course, did have a hard time now and then. One can find a number of different meanings for this expression, as though laughing. Krishna did not drive the chariot to a quieter place. He kept the chariot where it was, right in the middle of the battlefield. For gaining this knowledge, you do not require a particular time or place. You only require a particular person or persons. There should be someone like Krishna who, in the din and roar of the battlefield, had all composure necessary to talk to Arjuna. Arjuna too had the necessary composure to listen to Krishna, and the appropriateness of his questions indicates that he listened well. Therefore, who is listening, who is learning, and who is teaching are important, whereas the time and place are not. Okay. So therefore, who is
Thank you.
learning and who is teaching are important, whereas the time and place are not. So that's
Yes.
how he didn't try to choose a particular place for him to teach.
Thank you, Dr. Mara.
You're welcome. Sri Bhagavan asocyan vasocastvam prajnavada prajnavadam cha bhashase gata sunnagata suncha nanusochanti panditaha. So this is the great verse. We are starting with Sri Bhagavan's verse. Sri Bhagavan Vacha said, Tvam, you, Asocian, those who should not be grieved for, Anvasochaha, grieve. So Asocian is one who, sorry. Asocian, those who should not grieve for, Anvasochaha, okay, grieve. Pragnavadan, words of wisdom, Bhasha say, you speak. Cha and Panditaha, the wise, Gatasun, those from whom the breath has left. Gatasun is those from whom the breath has left. Agatasun, those from whom the breath has not yet left. Cha and na anusochanti, do not grieve. Na anusochanti is do not grieve. So, Sri Bhagavan Vacha Tvam Asociyan Anvasochaha Pragnavadan Bhashase Cha Panditaha Gatasun Agatasan Cha Na Anusochanti. Sri Bhagavan said, you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. So you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise do not grieve for those who are living or for those who are no longer living. So I'll read one more time. The Sri Bhagavan said, you grieve for those who should not be grieved for, yet you speak words of wisdom. The wise do not grieve for those who are living or for those who are not no longer living. Arjuna, confused about dharma and adharma and overwhelmed by sorrow, became a Sishya and asked for Shreyas. wanting to help Arjuna out of his sorrow for good and knowing that the relative Shreyas was useless here, Krishna's teaching was for imparting self-knowledge alone. So, Krishna's teaching was for imparting self-knowledge alone. The subject matter of the remainder of the Gita is self-knowledge, Atmanyana, the cause for the removal of sorrow. Shankara's commentary starts with this verse since it marks the beginning of the teaching. While the word Tvam, meaning you, refers to Arjuna, it can also apply to any second person. The word is significant given that the whole Vedanta Shastra is nothing but that thou art, that Tvam Asi. The first 6 chapters of Gita deal with you, Tvam, alone. What is you in the equation? Tat Tvamasi. You are that means you are equated to that. That has to be presented, and the meaning given is the Lord Ishvara. Therefore, Tattvamasi means you are Ishvara. That there is a difference between you and the Lord is obvious. That there is a difference between you and the Lord is obvious. But because the statement Tattvamasi is an equation, it seems as though you are equated to the Lord. The vision of the Shruti is that you are that Ishvara who is the cause for the entire creation, that Brahman you are. The Tattvam Asi equation is a statement, a Vakya of this vision. So, the very beginning itself, they brought this up nicely. There are 2 elements involved here. One is Ishvara, the Lord, which is the meaning of the word Tat. And the other is the Jiva, the individual, which is the meaning of the word Tvam, you. Unless the meaning of you is properly understood, the equation cannot be understood because there is a contradiction. If the statement you are Brahman were to be a self-evident fact, there would be no necessity for the teaching at all. Since, however, there is a contradiction between Jiva and Ishvara. We have to resolve it. Unless there is absence of contradiction, there is no identity. Okay? Unless there is absence of contradiction, there is no identity. Unless you recognize the real meaning of the word you, which means I, there is no way of discovering the identity between you and Ishvara that the Tattvamasi equation reveals. Therefore, the first 6 chapters of the Gita emphasize you. The next 6 chapters deal with that, the Lord. The last 6 chapters deal with the identity between the two. You will find as you proceed that the whole subject matter in the 7th chapter changes and that the last 6 chapters are significantly different. So, do you want me to repeat any paragraph before we move on? So the first, the talking about the how he is giving the self knowledge, and the Mahavakya Tattvamasi. The first 6 chapters talking about you, and the next 6 chapters talking about Ishvara, and then the identity between the last 6 chapter is identity between the two. So how they connect Jiva and Brahman or Ishvara. Arjuna's sorrow is your sorrow. Arjuna's sorrow, the subject matter of the first chapter, is the sorrow of any jiva, the individual, one who is subject to sorrow. So Arjuna's sorrow, the subject matter of the first chapter, is the sorrow of any jiva, the individual, one who is subject to sorrow. That Arjuna was sad is not unusual. In fact, we are all with Arjuna. His sorrow seems to be very legitimate. If this situation could not cause sorrow, what could? We can well appreciate and sympathize with Arjuna because for much lesser reasons we find ourselves in even deeper trouble. This is the condition of the jiva. I'll repeat this line again. We can well appreciate and sympathize with Arjuna because for much lesser reasons we find ourselves in even deeper trouble. This is the condition of the jiva. That the jiva is desirous of getting rid of sorrow is also obvious. Generally, people seek relief through escapes. What is significant here is that Arjuna wanted to resolve the sorrow for good, which is the reason we have the Gita Sastra. Arjuna was told straight away by Krishna, "You, Arjuna, grieve unnecessarily." Over the shoulders, over the shoulders of Arjuna, you too are being addressed. Over the shoulders of Arjuna, you too are being addressed. You too have entertained sorrow, the state of mind known as soka. So, Arjuna's sorrow is your sorrow. So, we are also getting teaching from Krishna. What is deserving of grief? Socha. What is deserving of grief? Socha is that what deserves grief, that which has legitimate basis for sorrow. In the society, we have universally accepted that certain events are matters for sorrow, while others are not. For example, when someone is about to be married, we do not send condolences, we send congratulations. Marriage is a matter for joy and laughter, not for sorrow. This is the case in any culture. For a death, on the other hand, even when there is a relief involved because the person was suffering extreme pain and required constant care, there is at least a tinge of sadness when someone dies. Therefore, the death is synonymous with mourning and can be called sochya universally. There is also personal sochya. So there's universal sochya and then personal sochya. You may be sad because of something that has come or gone, that has come or gone, whereas another person may not be sad at all. A man may be very happy that his mother has come, whereas his wife is a pack of nerves. For him, the event is not sochya, but for her, it is a great sochya. Because this woman has walked into their home, one person becomes a pack of nerves. The other is ecstatic because he can show off his accomplishments to his mother. The event is the same for both of them, but for one person it is sochya and for the other it is asochya. Thus we find that some things are sochya universally and others are sochya only for an individual. Culturally, there may also be a peculiar situations that are socias. In some cultures, the birth of a girl is a sochya, whereas in other cultures, the birth of a boy may cause sorrow, since too many boys are definitely a problem. Thus, an object of sorrow, soka, is called sochya. Such, just as an object of knowledge, jnana, is called jnaya. An object of sorrow means a situation that causes sorrow, be it an event or an experience. A situation that does not cause sorrow is called asochya. Here, Krishna's contention is that whatever may be the situation, you have no legitimate reason for grief. In the coming verses, he will establish that there is no legitimate cause for sorrow, both from the relative and the absolute standpoints. The wise do not grieve. Here, Krishna told Arjuna that he had picked up sorrow where it was not warranted at all. So here, Krishna told Arjuna that he had picked up sorrow where it was not warranted at all, and that people of knowledge, Panditas, do not entertain any grief. Panda, Pand, Panda. Panda means self-knowledge, and a Pandita is one in whom self-knowledge is born. So Panda means self-knowledge, and Pandita is one in whom self-knowledge is born. Krishna also acknowledged in this verse that although Arjuna was grieving over that which did not deserve any grief, he had also spoken words of wisdom. Bhagavan remembered all of Arjuna's words from the first chapter when he spoke so eloquently about who would go to Naraka and why the Dharma would be in trouble, etc. While acknowledging the wisdom of Arjuna's words, Krishna told him that people of wisdom do not grieve. Arjuna was not a wise man, and that was his whole problem. Krishna knew that all he had to do was make Arjuna a Pandita so that he would not see a problem where there wasn't one, as he was presently doing. The sorrow itself was unwarranted, which was why he was aggrieved. With reference to what do the wise not grieve? Lord Yama, death, can interfere at any time. There are many breaths, and any one of them could be the last. One breath alone does not last for 80 years. Between every inhalation and every exhalation, there is a gap. Therefore, how do you know which breath will be the last? Only when the next breath comes do we know that the last breath was not the last. The verse makes a distinction between one who has breathed his or her last and one who has not. Okay, so the verse makes a distinction between one who has breathed his or her last and who has not. Men of wisdom do not entertain any grief, either for the dead or for the not yet dead. Why was the death referred to here? Because all of Arjuna's arguments revolved only around death. He was always talking about the imminent death of his teachers and members of his family. Destruction was involved because there was a battle ensuing. This was one reason. In addition, death is the only event that uniformly, universally evokes sorrow. Uniformly, universally evokes sorrow. We would never send condolences to the bereaved unless we knew they were sad. On the other hand, if the survivors were sometimes happy, we would not automatically send condolences. We would have first found out whether they were sad or not. And if not, if they were happy, we would have sent messages of congratulation. Without even a thought, however, we all send condolences because death is an event that universally evokes sorrow. So there is some reference here about Panda, right? That Pandita is whose self-knowledge is born. Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhihi Yesham te Panditaha. Panda is self-knowledge. The one who has this self-knowledge is a Pandita. Okay. To use an analogy for why death was used here, okay, 10 minutes. Let me finish these 2 paragraphs so you can do the manana. To use an analogy for why death was used here, a boxer who wants to become a heavyweight champion of the world has only to fight one person, the present champion. All he has to do is knock him out and he will become the world champion. Similarly, if death is one event which invariably evokes sorrow in all, the reference to which the wise do not grieve, certainly the loss of hair or loss of a relationship or marriage will not be the cause for sorrow. Finally, death is particularly appropriate event to use in a discussion about sorrow and its removal, when what is to be discussed is Atma, which is not subject to death. Krishna told Arjuna that anything he might look upon as a source of sorrow was not. So Krishna told Arjuna that anything he might look upon as a source of sorrow was not, nor would any wise man look upon anything as a source of sorrow, because there is no source of sorrow. So the next tomorrow we probably will read from Source of Sorrow. But so far we read about what this Bhagavan's teaching starts with this verse. This number 11 verse, right? And then it talks about the Tvam. The first 6 chapters talk about this Mahavakya. So he's talking about the Atma Sastra, Atmajnana, and how he tease out why, who grieves not. What is the universal grief or the personal grief and all that we've discussed. And then he comes down to why you shouldn't be grieving. Arjuna's sorrow is your sorrow. So please share your thoughts, and or if anything you want me to repeat it, I can read it for you.
What was the Mahavakya for the first 6 chapter? That thou art or Tattvamasi?
Yeah, Tattvamasi is the Mahavakya.
Okay.
Which is to connect. Tat means Brahman or that, right? And then Tvam is you.
Yeah.
So you being a Jiva and then Tat being Paramatma. So the first 6 chapter talk about Tvam, that's you, Jiva, and then Tat is that, and Paramatma or Brahman, and then last 6 chapter connecting those two, Tat and Jiva and Paramatma is one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So he says, basically, Krishna tells Arjuna, you shouldn't be grieving for this, right? I mean, you should not grieve for these like that. But then he says, wise wouldn't grieve for those who are living or who are dead. So they'll go on explaining what is considered as a grief, what deserves grief, and is that sorrow is sadness. Everybody goes through that, whether the legitimate sorrow or not legitimate sorrow. I mean, it's something like that. They're bringing it up. So I think they're going to discuss more into that sources of sorrow and all that in the coming paragraphs. Ah, so the wise, because they have that knowledge, right? That Atma is permanent. It's not going to. It does not have death. So this body mind is the only one get destroyed when person dies and the Atma lives. So the wise don't think they have to grieve because the Atma lives, the eternal, happy. So that knowledge is what makes them uh, who's they're not worried about who are breathing, who are alive also, not dead also. So that's the way they're talking about it here. So the Panda is a self-knowledge. Pandita is one who imparts the self-knowledge. That's one word we read right here. Sorry. We talked about all the sochias, what can be causing sochias, asochias. Yeah. One who has this self-knowledge is, okay, one who has the self-knowledge is Pandita. So please share, everyone.
So here there are two orders of reality that have been that come to the perspective. One is, of course, death is shocha. That is, everybody offers condolences and all that because that causes sadness. But that's at the transactional level. But that is, we're talking about relative shreyas. Whereas when you're looking at absolute shreyas, that is something which is above dharma, adharma, above all of this. Then that is what Arjuna is seeking. That is what he's seeking right now. Because he wants to get rid of the sadness that has engulfed his whole being. So when you look at that absolute Shreyas, even death is not a matter for sorrow. Why? Because the Atma is eternal, it is deathless, it's immortal. So, at one level, yes, he will have, when he's killing his own people, that is what he was engulfed with in the whole of first chapter and beginning of the second chapter. But now he's opened up his mind to gain this knowledge that will relieve him of this. So any situation in our life, when we apply it to our life, there may be a cause for misery, there may be a cause for sadness, but if we can elevate our vision beyond that, getting entangled in that transactional level and look at the absolute reality, that is a relief. That is relieving, that is liberating. That is why that Atma Vichara is so important. Who is getting sad? Who is becoming sad? What is it that is making me sad? Who am I? These are the ones that will help chop off those things that bind us to that sadness.
Again, that bringing that viveka, right? That
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of helps us to get over this sadness.
Viveka and an element of Vairagya as well.
Vairagya too, yeah.
Both. Because unless you get out of the body mind ego complex
Yeah.
identification, which requires Vairagya, right? It requires Viveka, yes, but it also requires Vairagya. You're passionate about it.
Right.
That is why Viveka and Vairagya are the first pillars of knowledge.
I think it's a time up. Dr. Pramada, if anybody wants to say anything, please go ahead. I think it's good to ask whatever question, at least then we will remember to bring out more insight into this. So this one line is, it says all this first chapter. Arjuna, confused about dharma and adharma and overwhelmed by sorrow, became a Shishya and asked for Shreyas. So that summarized the whole thing in the last, all the verses we read. Dr. Brahmarat, so I'm going to stop sharing here. Don't have that video for the
I'll share the meditation. You can do the Shanti part and I'll share it.
Sure. Loka samasta sikino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Shri Gurudev.
Meditation. Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.